Good morning, everybody. This morning I have Julie Cardamon with the Mint Collection. We are doing our my first Zoom meeting together, and we have had to work out some kinks, but I hope we have it together now. And Julie is going to be talking to us this morning about her portfolio of hotels. And welcome, Julie, to my first Zoom meeting.
Thank you. Thank you. This is very exciting. And yeah, I'm excited to share the properties I'm currently working with, and I'll share my screen so you can see photos and maps and everything, and we'll just have a great dialogue and discussion back and forth.
Great. So I wanted to, first of all, ask you about your wonderful property in Chile. This is in northern Patagonia, and the name of the property is Futange. I wanted to ask you if people combine this region or this property with pre or post cruise stays at all. Could be the river cruises that go across the Lakes District, or even a Antarctica cruise, or the Chilean fjords. So I wanted to just get some feedback from you about this property. You know, what are its highlights, and if you would combine it with a pre or post cruise stay.
Great question. All right, so first let me share my screen here so that I can share a few maps and images and all that. Okay, so when we're talking about northern Patagonia and the Lakes District, so here's Santiago. Whenever you are visiting Chile, you are going to visit Santiago quite a bit, most likely, especially if you're going up to the Atacama Desert first and then back south. So Futange is this little blue dot here in the Lakes District. And, excuse me, actually, let me get down to, that's Casa Real. All right, so here we go, Futange. To get to Futange, there's actually 4 different airports. Let me zoom in here. There's 4 different airports you could fly into. The closest is going to be Osorno. So from Santiago, that flight is only an hour and a half, and then the drive to the property is another hour and a half. So within 3 hours, you can be to Futange. Meaning a lot of people, the most common way to combine this property with another is people hit Futange before heading on to southern Patagonia. And so they, because, you know, it's a long haul flight into Santiago, and then you most likely aren't going to want to continue on to the south. So people will stop here for 3 or 4 nights. They will also, as you can see, Bariloche, they will combine it with Bariloche because that drive is so beautiful, and it's only about 3.5, 4 hours, depending on where you're coming from. So that's another great way to combine Futange with other properties. And then also, if your clients have already visited, say, southern Patagonia and the Atacama Desert, another really great combination is the other properties right here in the Lakes District. Since there's so many wonderful ones popping up, Pucón is just north of Futange, and then Puerto Montt is just south. So you can stay right here and experience some really great properties. And to answer your question about the Antarctica cruise, I think that's a really great combination. You would most likely, depending on the flights and the days and all that, you would fly from Puerto Montt down to Punta Arenas and then head on. But yeah, it's just, you know, it depends on what, you know, really how long they have and what they're looking for. But what's great about Futange is it's right here in the middle of the country, and so really easy to combine with some other regions.
Mm-hmm. Great. Let's see. So let's say hypothetically, I have a couple that wants to come down and they fly into Santiago first because that is the international airport. And maybe they spend 2 or 3 nights in Santiago. Santiago is a very artistic city. They have lots of art museums and it's chock full of theaters and arts and things of that nature. And then say
Mhm.
they wanted to then fly down to the closest airport, the one that you just described, and
Mhm.
then they would drive to the property. And then how many nights would you suggest that they stay at that property? What would you say would be the minimum amount of nights?
I would say no fewer than 3 nights. Because when you're here, it still does take a little while to get here. And the first day, you might be able to get in like a half day excursion in the afternoon. So I would say at least 3 nights. 3 to 4 is what most guests will do here. But and I want to ensure that your clients have time to enjoy the hotel and the spa as well. So at Futange, you have, since it's its own private reserve, so you have this big, beautiful park with tons of hiking trails, and there's a lava field, natural hot springs, endless number of waterfalls, one that you can actually rappel down next to. You have all that adventure side of things. And then, but you also have the cultural side. The family has really great relationships with the Mapuche culture that still lives on a little island in the middle of Lake Ronco. So Lake Ronco is this huge lake, and there's an island in the middle. And one of the excursions, for example, is you can take the boat with the guide over to the island for a day and meet them, and just learn how they live, learn about their culture and their history and all that. So you want to make sure that you have time to enjoy the great outdoors and this beautiful reserve that they have, but also the cultural side of things when you're here. And then also the spa. It is a hotel and spa for a reason. And the spot here, photographed here on the left, it's its own completely separate structure. It has beautiful treatment rooms, a sauna that one whole wall is glass, and so it looks out into the beautiful waterfall coming down the mountain. There's an indoor-outdoor pool, and then a completely separate outdoor pool. And like everything else in the hotel, it really has a true sense of place. They make all their own oils for the treatments, which is pretty common. But what's neat about what they do here is that all the oils are made from berries that you can find in the park. So when you are out on a hike with the guide, they can point out, we use these berries for this type of oil for your spa treatments and all that. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
No, that's neat. I know rosehip oil. I know those berries grow
Mm,
a lot in Patagonia. So I saw their bright red berries. I
yeah.
actually spent some time in Bariloche a year and a half ago, and the seasons are reversed. So when we arrived, it was their fall. It was our
Oh,
spring. It was an April time when I visited, and the rose hips were blooming everywhere. And
mm,
yeah, so that's really neat. I know that berry is well known in that area.
yeah.
Um, Great. So let's say an itinerary to Chile would probably be more like a 10-day is what I'm thinking, because
Mhm.
you'd fly into Santiago, a couple days, and then fly down there for 3 days. So then you're looking at, your 6 days already, because usually it's a red eye when you fly down to South America from the US, or from the East Coast at least.
Yeah.
And then would you at that point, you had mentioned Bariloche, so possibly drive to Bariloche from there, and then fly back to maybe Buenos Aires to go home. So maybe that
Yeah.
could be a good 8 to 10 day itinerary combining Santiago, um, Futange, and Bariloche, and then flying back from Buenos Aires. Would that
Yeah,
be?
yeah, that has been done. That's a great combination. Or if they want something completely drastically different, they could, before heading down to Futange, they could even combine it, go up to the Atacama Desert for
Mhm.
4 nights, and
Okay,
then back down to Futange. We've
got
had
it.
mixed do that.
Okay.
But yeah, they're really the combinations really are endless.
Right.
And what's I mentioned it before, what's great about Futonga is it's in the middle. So it's always easy to combine with things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, that sounds wonderful.
Mhm.
Was there anything else about this property that you wanted to elaborate on, or would you
Um,
like to move to the next one?
Yeah, well, I just want to just reiterate that it is a private reserve. So the family, for the last, I'd say 20 plus years, they've created this beautiful private reserve, and their whole purpose and goal is the conservation of this land. And so that they built the hotel about 2 years ago. So the conservation of the land is still their priority, which I think is wonderful. And because of that, they want to share what they have with guests, but they also are very careful not to allow big groups, and they limit the number of people in the park and in the reserve. So there's never going to be those huge, large crowds. It's always going to feel very pristine and untouched.
Lovely. Looks
Yeah.
beautiful. Great. Should we switch directions to Europe? Should we, or should,
Yes.
okay.
Let me scroll up to Mastorella over in Spain. Let's see here. All right. Yeah. So what questions did you have about Mastorella?
Yeah, so I was reading about the property, and the location's only 90 miles. Is that east of Barcelona? Is that
It
heading
is northeast. So
northeast
here's
of
a map
Barcelona? Okay,
here.
awesome.
Um, yeah, it's right in the Costa Brava area.
Great. So one of my questions was, Barcelona is, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful cities. So most people, obviously would fly in there into Barcelona. And, if they've never been to Barcelona before, definitely I would say, 4 days minimum to really see the city and enjoy the food and everything it offers. And then, Costa Brava, maybe driving on to that area for, I don't know, another 3 or 4 nights. Again, just wondering about minimum amounts of time at that property. And if clients have already been to Barcelona, uh, maybe they just drive to your property, and is there enough to do for a full week, or would you combine it with something else? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, great question. So let me dive into what the property is all about. So it is actually an exclusive use villa. So you do rent the entire place, and it's 10 bedrooms, which are all en suite, which is wonderful. So you don't have to worry about any of that. So to your question about combining it with Barcelona, I too have this love for the city. It's so fascinating and stunning. We do get a lot of folks that will fly into Barcelona and stay a couple nights there and then head out to the Costa Brava area.
Mm-hmm.
Like you mentioned, it's only a 90-minute drive, so really easy to get to and convenient. In the high season, the villa does rent by the week. And so, but in the shoulder seasons and low seasons, Sylvia, the owner, is very flexible. So she will rent it out for 3-night minimum. So that's when it's really easy and great to combine with Barcelona. So you have a little bit of city stay, and then you come out to the coast area. The house itself it's kind of like a blank canvas. It can be transformed into anything your clients need or want, whether it's a multi-gen family gathering or a group of friends. Sylvia can just transform it into what you need. And there's so many little details that she has put in place that I think really make the place spectacular. But one of the things is, so it can accommodate 28 people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, all of the dining areas, whether it's the outside dining area here, the dining room inside, wherever it is, she made sure that you are able to seat all 28 people at one table, because she hated the thought of families or friends being broken up into groups. So I think that's a neat little touch here. as far as what you're going to do here, so your question was, is there enough to do in the area? Absolutely. So you are situated in sort of on the hilltop in Pater and so you're only about a 10-minute drive to their beautiful, stunning beaches, and then 10-minute drive to like the medieval villages. So from Mastorella, there are amazing day trip options. Even if you want to drive a little bit further, there's endless number of little coastal towns that you can pop into. Also, I think there's 9 golf courses in this area. There are endless number of like walking trails that you can also bike along. A lot of guests will arrange like either a private or with other folks a sunset cruise, so you can see the whole area by the sea, which is another great option. And then also there are so many Michelin star restaurants here, so a lot of people will focus on like the food and wine aspects. Speaking of wine, there's wineries. You can either go visit them yourself, or Sylvia can arrange for wine tastings back at the villa. So, and what's great is there's something for everyone. Even at the house, Sylvia ensured that there's a playground for the children if there's children in the group, which is great. My daughter and I were here just last month, and she was on the playground quite a bit, and really she approves of it. She thinks it's wonderful and great open spaces to just run around. And one of the new things Sylvia is working on is there's some old ruins sort of set up on a hill behind the house, but the view from there is just stunning, and you can see the ocean from there. So what she's doing is she's building a huge yoga platform, which actually can seat, or you can have, I think, 20 plus people doing yoga up there, but then you can see the water from that. But yeah, it's a really special property, and I could go on and on about the history of it and how it came into the family and all that. But if you visit, Sylvia will walk you through and give you a little history of how it came to be.
That is wonderful. So this is really a beach destination.
What's great is that, like, you have the beaches there, but then you also have the medieval villages with the little shops and all that. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds right here.
Right. I think it would be a lovely combination with Barcelona, split up your time between the two places equally if you've never been to Barcelona before, or like, you could certainly spend a full week there just in that Costa Brava area, like you said.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I don't know that I have any more questions about that particular property. I think it's very unique in that, it's it has 10 rooms in it and holds 23 people. So really you're looking for large family groups and, that kind of thing. So it is a little bit different than your typical, hotel setting, but this is the kind of unique experience that our clients are looking for. So it's nice that, we have knowledge about this particular property, and we can add that to our suggestion for, possible vacations. And
the price point here is really great. In high season for the week, you're looking at about $20,000. So if you divide that amongst several couples or a couple different family groups, it really is at a great price point.
That is wonderful. Yeah, that sounds good. Anything else you want to add about this property?
I don't think so. Like I said, I could go on and on and on and on and on. So
I know.
Questions.
Yes, absolutely. No, I think that, we can go back to, since we're talking a little bit about wine and how Sylvia hosts the wine tasting in the back of the villa, we can pop back over to Chile and talk about this fantastic winery property, Santa Rita. And, I think it would be neat to visit that now. I'm seeing that, you know, a lot of your property or these three properties have a common theme, which is, you know, active and outdoors. Is there uh, anything in your experience with travel or your childhood experience or anything, you know, just maybe how you view travel and how you enjoy it with your family that has influenced the properties that you represent today?
Yeah. Well, my passion and really the reason why I started the Mint Collection is it really lies with the boutique independently owned properties. That's where I like to travel with my family. I feel like there's another level of charm, and I just find it so fascinating to not only learn about the property and the region that they're in, but also learn about the history of how it came to be. Maybe, you know, how the family either built the property or it came into the family, and really what their passion is for the property and their goals for it. I think that is the thread that ties them all together, is that they have wonderful, amazing stories and missions behind each of them. And that's where I like to travel. So
Yes. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think all these properties are just fantastic in that they offer so much outdoor activity, and you've got activities galore for the active traveler, and
yeah.
you know, just being in one with nature is also a common theme. So,
Yeah.
you know, I'm really enjoying these are actually type of places that I would personally like to visit. So yeah, so tell us a little bit about the Santa Rita winery in
Yeah.
Chile.
So Hotel Casa Real is the actual hotel that is situated at the Santa Rita winery. So the hotel itself, and the winery, for that matter, is only about 45 minutes outside of downtown Santiago, or it's only about 45 minutes from the airport as well. So this is a really great option for those clients. Like you were mentioning, you know, they might spend a couple days in Santiago or the area before heading on their Chilean adventure. Or my favorite way to visit Casa Real is at the very end of a Chilean adventure, or really an adventure in South America. Save one final night to really come here and just relax and take it all in. You probably have been going, just constantly on the move. And so it's really great to have that place where you can just sit, take a deep breath, and take in everything that you've seen and experienced before heading back to reality. And Casa Real is the perfect place for that, because the hotel itself is the original founder's summer house. And so there's only 16 rooms. And common in Chilean architecture, the house itself is in a U shape. So all the rooms are on the sides and they look out into the center courtyard. But in addition to the big, beautiful house that you have, the guests have access to over 100 acres of manicured gardens surrounding the house. And that is, when I was here, I took one morning just to meander around, and I actually got lost in the middle of some lemon trees, and it was just so lovely. And one of the things that I love about this property is the owner. She's in her 80s now, but she comes every Wednesday morning and walks the gardens with the head gardener and inspects things and ensures that everything's in order and to her liking, which I think is really special. But probably the biggest draw, of course, is the winery. So to get over to the winery, the hotel guests can either be picked up by horse and carriage and taken over, or there's a little secret gate in the gardens that you can go through, which is really fun. But and I will say, just to make things clear, the winery side, it's a big operation. So while you have over 100 acres to yourself, along with only 16 other rooms, it on the hotel side, the winery side is going to be a much more bustling atmosphere, because not only do you have the winery, they have an amazing restaurant, the Donna Paola restaurant, little cafe, amazing little gift shop with artisan gifts and everything. And then my favorite part over there is this museum. So the museum, it's made up of over about 3,000 pieces that the owner, he collected throughout his life. He has since passed, but before he passed, they collected, or they gathered everything. Apparently he was hiding them behind his bedside table and all that, but they gathered everything and they made this beautiful museum. So when you walk through, it gives you a really great overview of both the history of Chile, but then also the different cultures that have lived there. So I think Casa Real is the perfect ending to a South America adventure. And what's great is that you, like I said, you're only 45 minutes from downtown Santiago. So sometimes folks will spend more than one night here because they want to do a tour in the city or anything like that. But you're so close to the airport too, it makes it very convenient.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I think I would like to do all three properties back to back. I'd like to,
Know, right?
travel from Chile to Spain and then back to Chile.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is great. Well, and I'm sure, my other question was, why did you choose these properties? And I'm sure that, like we talked about before, just the plethora of activities and being in tune with nature, and these areas are just beautiful areas anyways. Is there anything else that you want to add about why you chose these properties in your move from the Northeast? I know you had some properties, I believe, in Vermont and maybe Maine.
Yeah, one in Vermont and then one in Connecticut.
Okay.
And they too, they sort of went along with really my passion, me being independently owned and boutique, and I think that it boils down to really the ownership of them and what their mission behind having this property. And whether, like Sylvia, she was the villa was passed down to her from her father, and she completely renovated it, and she just wants to share it with people. That, or at Futange, they want to continue their efforts in the conservation of their park, but they also want to share everything with others. So they built a hotel, and so it's really fascinating hearing what it is that they're all about, really. And so that's why I chose them.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Julie, for taking the time to, first of all, be my first participant as a host for a Zoom meeting. So I really appreciate it. And I hope we can do more of these. If you add any more properties to your portfolio, or anything new comes about with these existing properties, please keep me posted. I would love to, learn at all, what's new, and it just helps me to better serve my clients and suggest different properties. So I think we have pretty much covered everything. If there's anything else you want to end your call, I am going to post this on the Facebook Growing Together forum. So my other colleagues at Largay Travel can see it, as well as other suppliers. I'm not sure if you're part of that forum, but it is a good way to, be involved. Sometimes we ask questions to our suppliers, and you may be able to add, information about your properties in that platform.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for, taking the time to listen, and I'm happy to answer any questions that pop up. I know a lot of questions pop up once you start diving into learning about either a region or a property. So I am here to help.
Great. Thank you so much, Julie.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.